Greetings and hallucinations to all you folks out there. It's time for a 1 versus 1, and this one's on the Theta Passage. This is a very popular 1 versus 1 map. It makes up a lot of the ladder games played. And it does encourage good basic gameplay. It's got a lot of open areas to expand into. Lots of really spread out mass extractors and some strategic areas of reclaim. So if you're wanting a map to learn the basics on, this is a good one to pick. If you can master Theta Passage, you've pretty much mastered 1 versus 1 in general. This is a 5K map. It's fairly small, and this is a Cybern versus Cybern mirror match. We've got Mr. Aesthetic on the northern side and Self-Conscious Mechs on the southern side. Apparently the mass extractors now have enhanced AI, so yeah, we'll have to be humane and not destroy them too thoroughly. Alright, let's go ahead and jump straight into this game and we will see where it takes us. Got an early scout out for Mr. Aesthetic, and probably see, well, no air at all for Self-Conscious Mechs, at least in the first couple of factories. And I would probably see an air factory after the hydro if there were going to be one. So it looks like we're not going to be seeing much air. Pretty much symmetrical land build for both players. Alright, moving on to a slight discussion of reclaim. Of course, you've got the rocks here right outside the base. This is a good little pile of reclaim, and then I believe that this is reclaimable in the... No, it's not. Never mind. That is a graphics feature, but there are more rocks. There's 2 piles of rocks here, and the rocks are much more valuable to go for than the civilian buildings. The civilian buildings are kind of a they're a false front, really. There's not nearly as much mass in those as there are in these rocks, so want to leave those alone. Sure, why not? You can reclaim them if you can get to them, but do not sacrifice your ability to get these rocks in order to get those buildings. Got a nice little engagement on the northern side. Self-Conscious was trying to get some aggression in, and he did. He killed a mass extractor, but he failed to kill the Tech 1 engineer that was right nearby, and he is going to get pushed back by a superior number of Mantis. Now, there's a superior number of Mantis in the north because the southern side was neglected. And there's a handy trick right there. Building the radar up on the ledge, it is going to get nailed by those Mantis because they can shoot over the edge. But that was a good effort nonetheless. Alright, losing some mass extractors down here. Mr. Aesthetic is a little bit behind at the moment. He's getting kind of boxed in. But he does have more land factories online, and he is balanced in eco still. Self-Conscious got the advantage on reclaim. Hopefully Mr. Aesthetic can balance out, but he's putting a lot more Mantis onto the field than Self-Conscious is at the moment, although Self-Conscious does have more factories coming online momentarily. And still relatively balanced. Nope, there is the mass stall. Alright, let's see what's going on here. We've got a point defense going up in the center there. Not the best idea. Could invest that into more Mantis. When we got ACU pushing on the left-hand side. Need to refocus a couple of Mantis to go up here and hit that. Not your whole group. Don't leave your ACU hanging out. But, alright, there we go. That is what we like to see. And regrouping on the southern side to push these Mantis back, and you'll see that we have an engineer coming in immediately to clean up the mess, suck up all that reclaim, and a engineer expanding outwards to go ahead and grab these mass extractors. So Mr. Aesthetic is doing a pretty good job of recovering after that push. It looks like he is not really the worse for wear, and he does have plenty of units about him. Alright, still all on Tech 1 mechs, no upgrades in sight, pushing a fairly good power spam on the southern side, and then looks like about the same story in the north. Alright, need to snag that mass extractor, and as I'm saying it, there goes the engineer. Question is, who is going to hit Tech 2 first? Looks like we don't have any plans over there. Tech 2 right there. It is online for Self-Conscious, and you'll notice that he had a slight dip in his unit count there. Mr. Aesthetic actually has more eco now because he does have the northern expansion, and he got these mass extractors online, and it looks like the same thing happening over again. A group of a handful of mantis coming in, kill these two mass extractors, kill the radar that was up on the cliff, and then run back. So there it goes again. There it goes. Rhinos on the field. Where they're headed, I'm not sure. Right up through the center here, you can see how well those heavy tanks do against Tech 1 units. Each one can kill 2 or 3 or 4 of the lower tier tanks. So they do a pretty good job of single-handedly taking on groups. You can see right there, that Rhino did exceptionally well. Tech 2 is going to give Self-Conscious a big advantage. We've got a Tech 2 upgrade going right here. Mr. Aesthetic is balanced mass still. I'm actually impressed with his eco balance. And Self-Conscious is tending towards the stalled side of things, but he is maintaining himself with Reclaim. And here these guys are meeting in the middle of a swarm of Mantis. So many Mantis. And those ACUs duking it out right there in the mid. I don't think either one is going to kill the other. But Self-Conscious is actually not looking too healthy, and his pathfinding got screwed. He is getting pushed into that group, but he is going to make it out. Got hoplites moving in, way too close a range. Need to get those things out. Those things are not very sturdy. And Rhinos moving out to the right still to try to get around the backside and kill off something of value. That's a vet, 2 vets on that ACU. And 2 vets on Mr. Aesthetic as well. Still unupgraded commanders at 12 minutes. This is actually kind of odd. But these guys are definitely playing it right. They've got still no mass extractor upgrades. That is something unusual that the lower ranked players will find that unusual. I say unusual, but it is not unusual. Because if you can sustain a balanced eco on Reclaim while still expanding, you do not need to upgrade a mass extractor. That is a waste of mass that you could have used on more tanks. Now, we're about to see the first major loss here in quite some time. Mr. Aesthetic does not have any units on the field in the front other than his ACU and a tiny group of Mantis. He's having major issues getting units to the front, mostly due to a fairly vicious power stall, and Self-Conscious is going to get around the back side here with some units, wiping out all of those northern mass extractors. Mr. Aesthetic is down to 13 mass income, reclaiming with his ACU to make ends meet. That is not a good situation to be in. And he is about to get swarmed. I think this might be the end. He does not have enough units to deny. He's going to have to rely on vetting his ACU up. He did pick up another vet right there. That is 3 vet on that commander. Almost 3 on Self-Conscious, but not quite. And now the units are moving around the back. Gonna kill off another mass extractor, down to 11 now. Oh, that was a beautiful overcharge right there. And that is going to be game for Mr. Aesthetic. No way he's getting out of that one. Kaboom! Taking Self-Conscious down to 2,800 health, but not quite a kill. Alright, that is going to wrap up that game. It was a quick one, but it was a neat one. That is a very good example of a Tech 1, slightly Tech 2 land battle, and something that you guys need to imitate if you are going to play 1 versus 1 on the ladder. That was a good, solid learning game. Well done by both players. Self-Conscious just barely edging it out. Alrighty guys, I will see you in the next cast.